Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3. Let me introduce our member. First, Samsi Nur Mafiroh, Risa Meilina Sari, Aditya Benito Lesmana, Ajeng Ayu Wardani, Marceli Widya Astuti, Nurul Aini Mujiasi, and the last Ainu Najibah. And we are going to explain about language and gender. For the first speaker, time is yours.
Overview of language and gender. Language is a tool of communication. Gender is a range of characteristics used to distinguish between males and females, particularly in the cases of men and women, and the masculine and feminism attribute assigned to them. Jadi gender adalah perbedaan yang terlihat antara laki-laki dan perempuan apabila dilihat dari nilai dan tingkah laku. Gender adalah sifat dan perilaku yang dilekatkan pada laki-laki dan perempuan yang dibentuk secara sosial maupun budaya. Jadi apakah gender dan jenis kelamin itu sama? Gender berbeda dengan jenis kelamin. Kalau gender bisa didefinisikan sebagai keadaan di mana individu yang lahir secara biologis sebagai laki-laki dan perempuan yang kemudian memperoleh pencirian sosial sebagai laki-laki dan perempuan melalui atribut-atribut maskulinitas dan feminitas yang sering didukung oleh nilai-nilai masyarakat yang bersangkutan. Lebih singkatnya, gender dapat diartikan sebagai suatu konstruksi sosial atas seks, menjadi peran dan perilaku sosial. Language and gender itself is an area of study within sociolinguistics, applied linguistics, and related fields that investigates varieties of speech associated with a particular gender or social norms for such gender language use. Bahasa dan jenis kelamin merupakan bidang penelitian sosial linguistik, penerapan linguistik, dan bidang-bidang terkait yang menyelidiki perbedaan bahasa yang berhubungan dengan jenis kelamin tertentu atau norma-norma sosial untuk penggunaan bahasa yang bersifat gender. The next speaker, please.
Thank you for the first speaker. So next, I'm going to explain about the theories of gender and language. There are 5 theories here, so please listen carefully. The first theory is deficit theories. In this theory, it's believed that woman's language is not good enough than man's language. So women are considered to imitate most of the male language because men are considered important in creating language. The work of the Beaver in 1949 and Dennis Grammarian Jespersen in 1922 support these ideas. For the second theory is dominance theory. This theory assumes that man and woman can express language differently because there is an inequity of power relations between men and women who dominate language because men are considered to have more power in the world of politics and culture and social life. This theory is supported by the findings of Aubert and Atkins in 1980. For the third theory is radical theory. This theory is almost the same as the deficit theory. It is assumed that humans see their world through the language they use and express, therefore fake about the world of built on the language created by humans. Women are just followers who only imitate the language invented by men. As a result, women have a lack of experience and perception because they have limited language expression. For the fourth theory is difference theory, and this theory assumes that boys and girls are different in how to socialize. They have different sociolinguistic subculture. They are male and female subculture. And the last is the reformist theory. In this theory, reformist feminists criticize sexist language that is considered unreasonable and able to create bias when the reality is represented. Thank you. For the next speaker is Aditya Benito Lesmana. For Adit, time is yours.
Alright, so now we have arrived at the relationship between feminism and pragmatics in language and gender issue. So, in gender study, feminism is a familiar term, and at its beginning, it was considered as a watershed movement for its aim at questioning some ideologies saying that females are less important than males. And the essential part of it was that feminism is the belief in full social, economic, and political equality for women. And then there is also pragmatics. Now, what is pragmatics? So in simple terms, pragmatics can be understood as the study of meaning in relation to the context in which a person is speaking or writing. And this also includes social, situational, and textual context, and also the background knowledge context, that is, what people know about each other and about the world. So when we talk about feminism and pragmatics, so what is the relationship between those two? Well, it can be said that when feminist studies investigate the use of language and its concern about the gender, they have very close relevance to pragmatic studies. So in other words, I want to say that those studies can be done by using pragmatic approach.
Categories of gender in language. It is important to know some terminologies that are used to represent men and women directly in a language. There are four terms as stated in Hellinger and Bachman. First, grammatical gender. In linguistics, the category of grammatical gender is a crucial issue. In some languages, they consist of three gender classes like feminine, masculine, and neuter. Jadi, gender gramatikal adalah bagian dasar dari kata benda yang menentukan kesepakatan seperti artikel, sifat, kata kerja, angka, atau preposisi yang dapat mengikuti kata benda tersebut. Dalam bahasa Inggris, misalnya, meskipun biasa menyebut kata ganti hewan sebagai it, kata ganti itu dapat diubah menjadi she or he, seperti kata ganti orang, ketika jenis kelamin hewan tersebut diketahui. Second, lexical gender. In linguistics, gender is usually used as property of extra-linguistic of femaleness or maleness. It can be seen in English, personal noun of mother, sister, son, and boy. Lexically, the meaning of mother and sister represent femaleness, while son and boy relate to maleness. Dengan kata lain, kata benda tersebut dapat disebut gender spesifik, khusus perempuan atau khusus laki-laki. Namun ada banyak kata benda yang dapat diklasifikasikan sebagai gender indefinite atau gender netral, yang tidak menentukan jenis kelamin, misalnya warga negara, pasien atau individu, dan lain-lain. Dalam semua bahasa, gender leksikal menjadi dasar penting dalam menentukan bentuk terminologi, istilah sapaan, dan jumlah kata ganti orang. Third, referential gender. Referential gender can be understood as the linguistic that are used to non-linguistic reality. Artinya, suatu kata dapat diubah fungsi dasarnya secara gramatikal dan leksikal menjadi feminim, maskulin, atau netral bila diungkapkan idiomatik digunakan. Kelas social gender. Social gender can be understood as the social separation between masculine or feminine roles and character traits. It means the personal nouns are formed specifically socially when there is no any differences between feminine or masculine word if it is viewed grammatically or lexically. Misalnya, dalam bahasa Inggris ada banyak istilah pekerjaan berstatus lebih tinggi, seperti pengacara, ahli bedah, atau ilmuwan, yang biasanya mengacu pada kata ganti khusus pria yaitu he. Sebaliknya, kata ganti khusus perempuan dia akan digunakan untuk merujuk pada jabatan pekerjaan berstatus menengah seperti sekretaris, perawat, atau guru sekolah. Thank you. Next speaker please.
And the use of linguistic varieties. There are some factors that affect the gendered use of linguistic varieties. First, employment opportunity. Ketika orang mencoba untuk bekerja, mereka biasanya kayak berkewajiban untuk mengekspresikan jenis keterampilan mereka, jadi mereka dihadapkan pada berbagai jenis tempat bekerja. Number second, marriage opportunities, seperti seorang gadis menikah dengan pria kaya yang berpendidikan, perkembangan bahasanya dapat berubah mengikuti variasi suaminya. Contohnya, jika perempuan itu saat bersama orang tuanya ia menggunakan bahasa Jawa, dan setelah menikah ia menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, mengikuti lingkungannya juga. And last one, industrialization and urbanization. Industrialisasi dan urbanisasi itu berperan penting untuk membuat orang mengubah bahasa mereka. Contohnya ketika orang berpindah dari desa kecil atau komunitas pertanian ke kota yang lebih besar. Untuk mengubah pekerjaan mereka juga dari yang tadinya menjadi petani ke kota mencari pekerjaan di pabrik atau di perusahaan besar. Mereka akan mengubah bahasa mereka juga dari bahasa lokal menjadi bahasa global. Mereka mungkin mengikuti standar nasional. Sementara itu, pola perubahan gender akan dipengaruhi oleh perubahan sosial yang terjadi di sekitar tempat kerja.
Thank you for first speaker. Okay, I will explain about gender and language education. Gender and language education focuses on how gender affects the way language is used. So here it means the relationship between gender and a second or foreign language. In sociolinguistics, gender is a factor that influences language variation. There are three important areas to pay attention to regarding gender and second language education. First, it is the subject matter. The subject matter of an student in second language education consists of gender concerns such as grammar and nouns. For example, Steffi is the most diligent student in her class, and Johnson is going on a study tour with his classmates next week. Based on the example above, we can conclude that for masculine gender, the pronouns used are he, his, and himself, while adjusting the context of the sentence. On the other hand, words that fall into the feminine category can use the pronouns she, her, and herself. Second, gender and second language education is a process. The process includes the teaching and learning process. For example, the difference between male and female students in achieving 4 skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Whether female students will gain vocabulary mastery faster than male students or vice versa. Third is the class material. In language learning with a gender perspective, it is necessary to prepare learning materials that show gender equality or criticize the existence of gender injustice that are represented in teaching materials which are used as reading in language learning. For example, the activities presented contain discourses. Discourses, description, example, and exercise that can add insight to students to appreciate the difference that exists around them, such as ethnic diversity, religion, language, habits, gender, and custom, as well as communicating them with oral and written. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Conclusion. Based on what has been described above, the issue of gender, which is a social construction in a particular culture, and culture has been studied in the use of language for a long time. When language is expressed, it is believed that men and women use different languages. So in here, there seems to be a lack of research done on gender and language issues. Therefore, it is very important for future researchers to know the possible gender expression used in this language as well. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.